Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Delia. Today I'm taking you on a home tour in the Cap Hill neighborhood with the art collectors Carla and Kevin. They have a very cool collection. It's super colorful, very weird, very vibrant. I really hope that you enjoy it.
Hey everybody, I'm Carla Rains with my husband Kevin, and happy to have you with us learning a little bit more about our art collection. This piece is really a critical piece in our collection because it really kicked us off on more serious buying of art and buying what we call real art.
We just decided that we'd had the house for a little while. We'd been fixing up the house, and we decided it was time to actually start getting some, as Carla said, real art on the walls. So we went to a gallery and we were looking, and we really didn't have any idea what we wanted because we hadn't really purchased art before. And we were poking around, and they had these little racks in the back of stuff that wasn't on display, and we kind of poked back there. And I think I ended up seeing it first and thought, oh, this is a really cool painting. It's a Tracy Felix is the artist for it, who is a Colorado-based person. And I think it's in Breckenridge is the mountain range that he's
I think so too. I think so too. You know, one of the things I think that really stood out for us about this is we both love some whimsy in our art. And so it's like Dr. Seuss painted. So that was part of it. I think, you know, it's fun if you zoom in because the trees are just tiny. I mean, they're just like a quarter-inch high little trees down through the bottom. He's certainly widely collected. Now you can see him at the Denver Art Museum and others. This piece we bought in 2001. Our company at the time was a little baby company. We had barely been kind of taking home small paychecks for a couple of years at that point. And Kevin said, hey, honey, I think we can pay bonuses this year. And I said, I think let's buy art with our bonus. And so that's what we did. This piece, so I have been known to buy a piece and then tell Kevin about it after I've made the purchase. And he's been very, very dear to not let me do that on occasion. This piece I actually bought for myself for my 60th birthday during the pandemic. And Redline Contemporary Art Space was having a kind of a sale or promotion of all of their member artists at the time. And this piece was made with a 3D printer. The artist, it's intended actually to be a wall hanging, but I've always loved it as a table piece. So I've either had it here. I love it here. We just got this piece. I loved how it really speaks to that piece. Also had it on the dining room table and on the mini buffet in the dining room. It's just beautiful the way the light kind of comes in through it. And it has a little patch of pink on the side. So that's a little bit about that. So we've had it since, when did I turn 60? 2020. Yeah. How old am I? You know, because I often look at it in terms of kind of how the colors play off each other. And so, you know, you can see from this furniture to that sofa to that painting to the painting on the wall. And there certainly are color elements that play through. And again, as we mentioned, you know, many of the pieces like this Louis Recchia here was on the stairwell at one point. I brought it in here a couple summers ago when Kevin was away on a business trip. And I just love how the metallics play. And it pops more against the blue than it did against the green. It was fine against the green, but it's more fun here. And then just love seeing kind of how that can have a conversation with this little table. Again, very traditional style. We've had this for quite a long time now with a couple little portraits that we got and one of my favorite little coffee mugs that Kevin got for me years ago.
And this is a piece that I particularly enjoy this piece because, like Carla said, I think we like a little bit of whimsy and we like the colors. And, you know, for sitting in the chair and I'm looking at it, I always feel like I noticed something a little different that I hadn't noticed before. It's got a lot of little hidden details in it and that sort of thing. And it's kind of hard to tell, but like there's a hula hoop in it and there's a broom and there's pennies and all sorts of stuff. But I like the I like the action and the motion of it and the liveliness of it.
I was reminding Kevin, so this is a Louis Recchia piece. He's a Denver artist. And when we first moved here in '93, one of Kevin's bosses at his old company, he and his wife collected Louis Recchia's work. So I remember seeing it in like 1994 or so at the holiday party, a smaller piece of his. And his style was just so unique that later on, when we started buying pieces, we started out with a smaller one that we have upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, I think, 3 of his pieces.
Yeah, yeah.
This painting, the artist is Mark Penner Howell. And we actually bought it for this spot. We were looking for something new for over the mantle. We loved how the colors play with the colors of, that's the original brick and the surround for the fireplace. It's got a bit of whimsy, that idea of don't play with fire kind of a thing. It's fun, yet it's not quite serious in a way, but and his technique is just so strong.
Mm-hmm. And I like the woman always kind of reminded me of like a young Judy Garland or somebody.
Yeah.
And when we bought the painting, we got some documentation with it. And from what I remember, the artist had taken the female model out of like a 1950s crime magazine. And I'm like, yeah, because she definitely looks like that classic retro 1950s model.
Yeah. Well, and it was fun because when we were getting ready for you guys to come over today, Kevin was like, well, what about that vase that we have up on the mantle? That we found that in Hawaii on a trip years ago. And it's got whales. It's just a beautiful piece. And, we again love being able to mix things up. This little kind of figure with the horse to the right, we got in South Korea, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah.
So Kevin had an internship in Seoul, South Korea in 1992. And we got that there. I think we've grown in our taste together. We both loved landscapes. So you'll see especially as we go upstairs, originally we were collecting landscapes, loved landscapes. Mm-hmm. I think we overlap in terms of the whimsy. I like funkier things than Kevin does, I would say generally. Or at least some funkier things than Kevin does. There are other cases where we use what we call spousal veto.
Which is why she buys some things when I'm on a business trip.
Spousal veto.
Yeah, the veto is not possible.
Exactly.
But that's okay.
Exactly. But mostly, there are things that we found that we both really love together, or we say, hey, if it makes one of us happier than the other one, but we both really like it, then that's just a great thing.
But generally, if we both like something, it's pretty strong, and it's like we're both very happy with it for a long time. Yeah. So I don't think we really have buyer's regrets over anything that we both agreed on.
And we'll show you, our collection, we started out buying smaller pieces is what we could afford, and they were less intimidating. And they were more traditional. My mom was a painter. She painted more, still lifes and that kind of thing, when I was growing up. And so my parents had a lot of my mom's work, but they had very few pieces that weren't hers. And then your parents, I'm trying to remember what kind of pieces your parents might have had.
Just kind of mass market types of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I went from a very rural area, so you didn't have art galleries where I was from.
Right.
So
we weren't out buying art, and so we started out with prints, Ansel Adams and all that kind of stuff, and evolved over time.
It was one that was bought without the spousal veto because I was on a business trip, and she said, I bought this painting and it's 96 monsters. And I'm like, I'm curious what this is going to look like when I get home. And I actually like it a lot. But when she described it to me, I was like, it's like really monsters?
Yeah, demon heads.
Yeah.
It's
but they're good monsters.
Yeah, they are. Originally when I saw it, I thought about it for the living room. We had just kind of switched out to that sofa and those other pieces, and I thought about it for that wall. And again, at that time, that room was a paler color, but it just worked so well here. And again, I love an element of surprise in the work. So yeah, in his work, he's got his little classic kind of try to figure out how many demons types there are, and then they're just riffs off of them. That's Matt Ciso. He's out of Baltimore.
I love the elephant. I don't really have much of a story about it. We got it at the Cherry Creek Arts Festival, and I love it's just got so much detail in it, because if you did a close up of it, you'll just see it's got like tons of little tiny I don't know, rhinestones or something that make it
bedazzled. She's very bedazzled.
Bedazzled, yes.
She's very bedazzled. What's fun, I think, with this little kind of collection that we're showing here is the mirror and the pedestal we bought when we graduated from UT Austin in 1993. That was kind of our present to ourselves.
Yeah.
And so we've had them for all that time. I think the mirror has lived there pretty much the whole time. Well, it was over the mantle maybe
almost
too.
the whole time.
It's so heavy.
Yeah.
Once we located it, it couldn't move. This piece we found in Aspen in the off season. It was probably like April.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of a snowy off season, and they had art. The gallery, they had art on sale, and I think it was just on the floor. It wasn't even hanging.
Yeah.
And we saw it, and the detail is phenomenal. And so, as I mentioned earlier, we started out collecting landscapes. That was a significant purchase for us.
Yeah.
When we bought it.
And we typically don't go for realism, but we both saw it and just were wowed by it. So we thought it would work really well over the mantle in the dining room, but something about the lighting and the type of paint, you know more about that than I would, but it just got a glare, so we couldn't put it where we initially intended, but we think it works really well here.
Yes, I love it here. Yeah, it's got a bit more of a shiny varnish over it, but I love it against the green, and I love it with the oak. I think it's the strongest place that we've had it. Yeah, and that's another Louis Recchia piece. We had that in our living room until recently, and it's been in the dining room too. Yeah. This is my little home office, and so I have pieces here that were painted by friends that I know, and then same with the pieces over here. I've got just a little kind of a collection. This is a smaller one by Matt Ciso, who did the Demon Heads piece in the dining room. And then these other three, the head, the arc sticker, and the robot piece were done by my friend Melvin Allen. And she did a little bag too. So I think during the pandemic, like everybody else, we kind of optimized our space. So I joke that we have a very large 1-bedroom. So on our second floor, it's kind of a his and her space. So this is Kevin's space, and then these two rooms are mine. Yeah.
We can go in my room.
Okay, yeah, Kevin, the purple room.
Probably the most expensive art is my racing medals, which took a long time to collect. But this is the third Louis Recchia, which was, I think that was the first one we bought.
I think so, yeah.
And then this is his wife, right?
Yeah, Zoe Ace. Yeah.
Yeah, Zoe Ace, which we like that, just again, whimsy.
No space left without art. Classically in an older house like ours, we don't have a restroom on the first floor. So this is really our primary bathroom. This piece, I love the quality of the lighting in this piece. And it's almost like a mirror image, right? As you look at the water and you see the reflection. I love smaller pieces like that feel big. And then this one is... we actually bought this one at a home tour back in the day. Was that for the Colorado AIDS Project maybe, or somebody? We just loved it. And again, you can see it has a bit of a feel of the landscape from downstairs. It's actually an antique frame that has the kind of the signature on the back that we had restored. So we paid actually quite a bit more for the frame than we did for the painting. Yeah.
And the interesting story on the frame is that it's still got a label on the back of the framer. And at some point I ended up looking them up, and they were a very prominent frame company in Boston. And like some of their frames are in like the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. Their paintings are actually in this company's frames. So I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. But that's one too where I have a lot of fun kind of just moving the work around depending on how I've kind of decorated. This piece, over the years, we found quite a few lovely pieces at the Cherry Creek Arts Festival. And, one of the things that we did for many years was we said every year we're going to buy a piece of art. And so that was a very nice way to manage our budget and to find something that made us both really, really happy. And so this piece is actually pastel crayon on black paper. And wow. So I just love and again, this one we had in our living room for a long time, and just love again, kind of a whimsical kind of a shape and style to it, and just all the details in the mark making.
And there's a little one here that I always particularly like, just because I think it's creative. And it's this little tiny one, and I think we got it in Manitou Springs. But the person basically takes a sheet of rock, and that's the natural pattern of the rock, and then he just paints a little tree on it. Wow. And I just think it's just really gorgeous, especially 2 by 3 inches, and it has a lot of presence. And then the background on this one, Carla mentioned it, but we did a charity home tour for the local school, and so the school kids drew this with all of the houses that were on the tour, that being our house, and presented it to us as a thank you. I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but they all kind of have an alien theme to them.
Which was the first one we bought, honey? Was it the top one on the right or the one with the yellow table?
We bought these right almost at the same
time.
Yeah.
Carol was showing these pieces in black. And what's interesting with this one, again, it's called Vampire Dreams or Vampire Diaries. There's a face right here. So if you look the right way, you can see the nose with the nostrils, a mouth, and an eye. Do you see it yet?
I do.
Okay. Happy accident. So she painted it. She was working on it the other way, and otherwise it says no, 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 no here. And this was otherwise like words and things over here. And when she flipped it over, she saw the face. And I thought, oh my God, I have to have it with my demon heads. And then this piece I fell in love with actually in 2022. She's an artist based out of Fort Collins, and it's actually mixed media. So that's actually her X-ray. And then I just love the idea here of the cosmos or the universe. And then these little flowers, they're like orchids that are applied with wax. And I just love the intimate scale of it. I love it with the lighting, and I loved how it came together with the chair. The pillow was a Madeline O'Connell that I found last year. But the table, my dad made those lampshades back in the day. And so just loved how this kind of came together especially from a story perspective and a color perspective.
We felt settled here, and it took us probably 5 years to just kind of it was an 11-year remodel to get it to where it is now, but it took us about 5 years to kind of get it up to a level where it was like, oh, this is nice. And then to me, I don't know what you think, but to me, part of that was part of buying the art was it's like we're kind of adults now, and we're settled, and this is our home, and we want the home to look how we want it to look, and it was just natural to get art as opposed to Scotch taping posters on the wall or something.
Well, and I think you're right with that. Especially we love our home, and which is why we have lived here as long as we have. And I think it's kind of, we feel that we're stewards of the house. We're the fifth family to live here, sixth family to live here. And so I think to your point, is you kind of just feeling like we were adults and kind of being more established and having work. And I think, it's the thing you always hear about with art too, is you feel the creativity of the work. I mean, there's just a different emotional experience to be around original work, especially if you get to meet the people that made the work. I think then having reproductions and that sort of thing. So I think there's that. The other thing is we're both very creative people in many parts of our lives. And so it's a way of really honoring creative expression for ourselves too. You get a different sense of us here than if you just saw us at the office or in a different kind of a space. So I think for us, it's really that fulfillment of this is who we are. And I'm happy every day that I'm here.
Appreciate you guys watching that. I always love hearing from you, which pieces resonated, aspects of their collection that you were intrigued by, basically anything you want to share. I am here to hear it, and I will see you next time.